What's going on, everybody? And I hope you've had a fantastic week so far and you're enjoying your weekend. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm here to bring you my New York Giants keys to victory to try and go out there and defeat the Houston Texans and raise their record to a very impressive 7-2 as the Giants are coming off the bye right now, looking to see if they can continue their winning ways and raise their record to 7-2 coming out of the bye. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stories right now to talk about when it comes to the New York Giants. Namely, the first one is injuries. The Giants have had a lot of injuries in this first half. They also traded away a key player. They didn't end up trading for anybody at the trade deadline. They picked up a couple of guys through the waiver wire. But in reality, the New York Giants are right now trying to go into this game the healthiest that they have been in a very long time. And it all starts out with a couple of key offensive and defensive players that the Giants are going to be getting back that are coming back from injury. So that's going to be one big thing that the Giants are going to be looking forward to heading into the rest of the season, as the Giants are going to be playing a lot of competitive divisional games for the rest of the season. 5 of the next 9 games for the New York Giants are going to be divisional opponents. They take on the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving at 4:25, so that's obviously going to be a very interesting game. Both NFC East rivals are going to be going up against each other in the division on Thanksgiving, so hopefully the Giants don't ruin a lot of the Giants fans' Thanksgiving going into that day. But also at the same time, the Giants still have 2 more games they still have 2 games overall against the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders. So the Giants are going to be playing a lot of hot and heavy divisional opponents going into the rest of this season. Also mixed in with a couple of other teams, like this Sunday, taking on the Houston Texans. They'll be taking on the Detroit Lions as well, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Indianapolis Colts. They're also on the schedule for the New York Giants. But right now, it's all about concentrating on taking on the Houston Texans. And this football team, they might not be looking good. They're 1-6 on the season, 1-7. But at the same time, this Houston Texans team should not be a team that the Giants should take lightly coming out of the bye. So the Giants have got to make sure they come out of the bye and they play strong. The Giants have at times struggled coming out of the bye week. They have not played their best football, and this is a history. It doesn't matter who was the coach of the New York Giants. The Giants have struggled coming out of their bye week, and especially coming off a very difficult and tough loss against Seattle a couple of weeks ago. The Giants have got to make sure they could put the pedal on the metal, and they have to come out and they have to play a spirited football game against a team that they should go out and be able to defeat against this Houston Texans team. It's not going to be easy. No game in the NFL is easy, but the Giants have to come out of the bye and not go through those lapses that they've previously gone through when they played against previous opponents in the past coming out of their bye week. So here are my 5 keys to victory for the New York Giants to be able to go out there and defeat the Houston Texans. And like I said, this is not going to be a very difficult matchup. Obviously, one of the biggest things that are going to go against the Giants is the ATV accident and the injury that happened to Xavier McKinney. And that's a big blow for that Giants defense. And of course, they're going to be going into this game without tight end Daniel Bellinger and right tackle Evan Neal, who are both right now nursing injuries after both of them got banged up in that game against Jacksonville a few weeks ago. But my keys to the victory for the New York Giants. Number 1, obviously, this has been one of the biggest keys for the New York Giants pretty much all season, and it's going to continue to be the biggest key for the New York Giants going forward, and that, of course, is run the football. The Giants have to continue to do, coming out of the bye, that they have been doing the first 8 games of the season, and that's run the football. The Giants have been one of the best run-blocking offenses in the league. Their offensive line has struggled at times when it comes to protecting the pass. When it comes to pass blocking. But the Giants have been very strong overall in terms of their run blocking and their run game overall, led, of course, by their all-pro running back, all-star running back, Pro Bowler, Saquon Barkley, who is on a mission right now after having a few injury-plagued years. Saquon Barkley is 100%, well, almost close to 100%. He is nursing a shoulder injury, but Saquon Barkley is as close to 100% as he can be. He's having a fantastic year so far. He's almost got 1,000 yards rushing on the season in only 8 games so far for the New York Giants. So they have to continue to go to their bread and butter, and they have to continue to do what this New York Giants team succeeds at the most, and that, of course, is running the football. Houston is a team that struggles when it comes to stopping the run. They are not very good at stopping the run at all. So the Giants have to continue to do what their bread and butter is. They can't divert away from what is making them successful. Of course, they have to continue to run that football and run that football down the Houston Texans' throat. They cannot let up and allow the Houston Texans to be able to get comfortable and be able to rush the passer, especially on that right side. The Giants are a little bit weaker on the right side of the offensive line, so they can't sit back there and have Daniel Jones just pass the ball over the field. Even though Houston Texans secondary is young, they're still very aggressive and they're still very well stout. So I would have to say the Giants have to go out there and attack that defensive line and outside linebackers and run the football. Run the football with Saquon Barkley. Occasionally you get Matt Breida in there and Gary Brightwell. And, of course, you can't forget about the footwork and rushing prowess of quarterback Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has shown a very, very distinct ability to be able to run the ball on the outside, and as well as some of these bootleg plays when they try to fake the handoffs to Saquon Barkley, and Daniel Jones ends up taking off for a big run on the outside. So the Giants have got to make sure they continue to do what this team is the most successful at, and that is run the football. Do not divert away from what has gotten you to this point, and that is running the football. So hopefully the New York Giants can do that. The Giants have to continue to do what will help them get to an even better position and an even possibility of winning this division in the end against the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's continue to run the football with Saquon Barkley, with Daniel Jones, Matt Breida, Gary Brightwell. Maybe you do some fake handoffs with the Wan'Dale Robinson, etc. Continue to do what this New York Giants team does the best, and that's running the football. My second key to this game, stopping the run. So just like the Houston Texans, the New York Giants are very, very, very vulnerable in terms of stopping the run. The Giants have got to do a better job in terms of stopping the run, and they're going to be going up against, we talk about how good Saquon Barkley is for the New York Giants. Well, all you have to do is turn your attention over to that young Houston rookie running back, Dameon Pierce. That kid is having a fantastic season overall, too. He's got about 700 yards rushing, and he just came off a very big game against the Philadelphia Eagles, another team that struggled stopping the run. But the Giants have got to make sure that they're able to contain Dameon Pierce and not allow him to go out there and run wild against this Giants defensive line and outside linebackers. Dameon Pierce is one of the best young running backs in the league. He's one of 3 good young running backs right now, along with Breece Hall before he got hurt, as well as Kenneth Walker, that is really going out there and making a statement for this Houston Texans offense overall. So they have to make sure the Giants cannot allow Dameon Pierce to run wild through the tackles or bouncing to the outside, where the Giants have actually been the most vulnerable, is bouncing to the outside. And another thing to play into factor in this right now, the New York Giants are lacking right now in depth at the defensive tackle position. We already know that DJ Davidson, he was lost for the season back in that Green Bay game when he tore his ACL. And now the Giants, last week they announced that Nick Williams, reserve defensive tackle, he tore his biceps in the game against the Seattle Seahawks. He's now out for the season too. So the Giants are very, very vulnerable in terms of their defensive tackle depth. They have Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, who's been banged up a lot this year, and you have Justin Ellis. After that, the Giants are very, very, very vulnerable at the defensive tackle position. They don't have a lot of depth, so they can't suffer a lot more injuries at that defensive tackle position. They did at one point sign Aaron Crawford, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens, to a practice squad contract, but at the same time, he was then released and his contract was terminated because it didn't work out. But the Giants have got to do a better job stopping the run. The Giants have been getting gashed a whole lot. They've been getting gashed a lot trying to stop the run against opposing teams. They cannot allow the Houston Texans to be another team to be able to run the football down the Giants' throats, because that's going to allow quarterback Davis Mills to sit back and just be able to pick apart the Giants' defense on the outside. And I'm going to get to one of my other factors that's going to be going into play too when it involves the Houston Texans and when it involves the New York Giants in terms of one of their weaknesses on defenses as well. But the Giants have got to do a better job stopping the run overall. They cannot allow Dameon Pierce and that Houston Texans running game. I'm going to throw Rex Burkhead in there too, or Burkhead. The Houston Texans have a very solid running game. That's the foundation of their offense. That's probably the best part of their offensive line is their run blocking. The Giants have got to make sure that they contain Damian Williams and Rex Burkhead and do not allow those two running backs to run right through the tackles, pick up 4, 5, 6 yards per carry, give Houston short, second and third and shorts, second, third, and 4 and 3s and such, and allow them to be able to get comfortable in their offense. So the Giants have got to do a better job when it comes to stopping the run. That's my second key for the New York Giants to be able to pull off the victory today. First one being run the football. Second one being stop the run. Easy concept if you want to be able to win in the NFL. My third key to the game. Have better contain and do a better job in terms of stopping the screen plays. The Giants have also gotten burned when it comes to stopping the screens. Jacksonville did it a lot against us. Even Seattle did it somewhat against us. We have got to do a better job in terms of stopping the screen passes and the screen runs by opposing football teams. Jacksonville was the one team that really put out what the Giants' weakness is on defense, and that's in terms of stopping screen plays. And that's going to rely a lot on the discipline of the outside linebackers. It's going to rely a lot on the discipline of the inside linebackers. I'm talking about right now Micah McFadden, Jalen Smith, Tay Crowder. Those guys have got to do a good job in terms of not allowing themselves to get out of their gap discipline and being able to watch out and be aware for those screen plays by the opposing teams. And Houston has a very speedy wide receiver if he is going to play, and that's Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is a veteran wide receiver that's got a lot of top-end speed. He might be 29, 30 years old, but the kid still has a lot of good speed in terms of being in the slot and on the outside. And you know that Houston is going to look at some of the old tape for the New York Giants in terms of their defense, and they're going to look at trying to develop that screen game overall and not allow the Giants to get a little bit more gap discipline. So they're going to attack a guy like Tay Crowder, even a guy like Jalen Smith, who's a little bit slower right now. He was off to a good start originally, but he seems to be slowing down in terms of his play lately, as well as rookie Micah McFadden, because he is a rookie. The kid is a 5th-round rookie, so the Texans are going to look to try to expose Micah McFadden in the pass game if the Giants put him out there in some of these past concepts. So Houston, I think, is going to be doing a lot of trying to do screen plays in the middle of the field, and they're going to try to expose that Giants screen defense. So I expect a lot of screen plays by Houston, trying to maybe get the ball to Rex Burkhead, maybe get a couple of short passes with some blocking in front for a guy like Dameon Pierce, and, of course, Brandon Cooks. So the Giants have got to do a good job in terms of stopping the screen plays. There's two things the Giants have got to do better on defense: stopping the run and being aware and playing better against screens. That's my third key to the game for the New York Giants. So first key, running the football. Second key, stopping the run. Third key, doing better against screen plays. My fourth key to the game: pressure Davis Mills and make him uncomfortable in the pocket. Davis Mills has a propensity lately of turning over the football. He's a second-year quarterback that has had the propensity to turn the football over, and he's been turning the football over a lot. The past game against the Philadelphia Eagles, he threw a couple of interceptions on some ill-advised throws because they made him uncomfortable in the pocket. They made him scramble to the outside, and Davis Mills threw up a bunch of bad passes, and the Eagles were able to pick it off. The Giants have got to do the same thing. They have got to do the same thing and make Davis Mills uncomfortable. And this, of course, is going to come down to that pass rush. Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Jahide Ward, Timon Fox, O'Shane Ximines, all those guys. Ellerson Smith, those guys are going to be counted on to be able to provide a solid pass rush on the outside and in the interior defensive line to make Davis Mills uncomfortable in the pocket, make him scramble to the outside, make him throw an off-balance, ill-advised throw, and then that's when the Giants can go over there and pick off some of these plays. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing the Giants do, is make Davis Mills uncomfortable in the pocket and make him throw some bad, ill-advised throws, and then that's when you create some turnovers on Davis Mills, as well as you could try to get a strip sack against him too. Kayvon Thibodeau is starting to wreak havoc on the outside. Teams have had to double and triple team at times to try to keep Kayvon Thibodeau from hitting the quarterback, but he is starting to create pressure on that outside. And O'Shane Ximines, before he got hurt with his quad injury, O'Shane Ximines was also starting to create some pressure on that outside, and he was doing a good job in the run defense, but especially on the outside. Ximines is actually second on the team in sacks behind Dexter Lawrence, who has been doing a great job in terms of his interior pass rush. Seattle game was probably his weakest performance overall in terms of his pass rush, but Dexter Lawrence has been having a strong season. I expect Leo to start getting it going once he gets a little bit healthier. He's been dealing with a sprained MCL as well as been dealing with an elbow injury. But I expect now with the bye week, Leo's going to get a little bit healthier and his pass rush is going to get a lot better. But Kayvon Thibodeau especially has been really starting to create some havoc on the outside. And I expect that pass rush to be able to go in there and create some havoc against Davis Mills on the outside. And my fifth key to the game: take some shots down the field and test out that young secondary. Kenny Golladay is going to be back. Giants fans, Kenny Golladay will be back, and he should be targeted on this offense. Darius Slayton is being able to create some plays for the Giants on the outside. He's been one of the only reliable receiver for the Giants, really, on the outside. Wan'Dale Robinson, once he gets a little bit more acclimated and a little bit healthier, Wan'Dale Robinson is going to be a guy in the slot. Kenny Golladay, Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, kid they just picked up and as a free agent, Isaiah Hodgins. You still got Richie James. Marcus Johnson is going to be part of the wide receiver rotation. But the Giants have got to try to take a couple of shots down the field and test out this young secondary. Test out King. Test out Stingley. Test out Petrie. Test out those young players. They might be good. They might be very good young prospects, but they are still young players, especially Stingley and Petrie. Test them out. Make them go out there and try to cover some double moves. Put some 9 routes out there, do some dig routes, do some deep inline crosses, make those young players cover on the outside. Make them be a little bit over-aggressive, and then boom, hit them with a double move on the outside. Maybe you take a deep shot to Kenny Golladay on the outside, or some inside deep slants to Kenny Golladay. Maybe you do a double move to Darius Slayton where he could take the top off the defense, and Slayton could be able to take one to the house. That's what I want to see. Test out these young corners. They might be good in terms of their overall play. They might look like they have good, strong, high upside. But at the same time, you got to go out there and test these young players and make them go out there and cover to these New York Giants wide receivers. Test them out. And that's where I think Kenny Golladay, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Darius Slayton, those are your top 3 wide receivers, whether Giants fans like it or not. Those are the top three wide receivers, with obviously Kadarius Toney no longer here and Sterling Shepard on IR. It's Golladay, Slayton, and Robinson. The Giants have got to try to take advantage of this young Houston Texans defense and take some occasional deep shots, double moves, slants on the inside, and just take advantage of this young Houston Texans defense. So, overall, in terms of reviewing my top 5 overall keys to the game, obviously running the football, number 1. Take advantage of that Houston Texans spotty run defense. Number 2, rush the passer. Stop the run. Stop the run against the Houston Texans running game, especially Dameon Pierce, who's been having a very good rookie season overall. Do not let him go out there and just start going off against this New York Giants defense. So stop the run. Number 3, watch out for the screen game of the Houston Texans, namely a guy like Dameon Pierce, Rex Burkhead, who is very good in the screen game overall, as well as watch out for Brandon Cooks on some of those wide receiver blocks. Then they're going to might use him in the screen game since he is a guy that can take the top off the defense, but they might want to take advantage of his quick line speed and maybe try to get him in some of the screen games going forward. My 4th key to the game, of course, develop a pass rush, make Davis Mills uncomfortable, make him make some off-balance throws, and create some turnovers, as well as try to get some strip sacks and sack him, force some fumbles, and pick up some fumble recoveries and some turnovers for the New York Giants. And my 5th key to the game, take advantage of these outside cornerbacks, these young cornerbacks and safeties, and take some deep shots on the outside or some deep slants, some curl, not really some deep curl routes, some dig routes, 9 routes, double moves, slant and goes, these types of things, and make these young cornerbacks remain disciplined on the outside in the middle of the field. That's what I want to see. The Giants have got to come out after this bye week and play disciplined football. They cannot go through a lull right now. The Giants, they're coming off the bye week. They have not played very well coming off the bye for multiple weeks. The Giants have got to come out and play disciplined, fundamental football like they have been for the first half of the season. 9 games so far left in the season, starting this Sunday at MetLifeStadium against the Houston Texans, a game that the Giants is a winnable game. Team that they should beat realistically, but as we know in the NFL, nothing is a given. And the Giants have got to go out there and not take this Houston Texans team lightly and go out there and play good fundamental football. And also not come out of the bye, just coming out of a lull, and just do what they do best. Run the football and rush the passer and play good defense. And obviously they're going to be coached well by Brian Daboll, Wake Martindale, Mike Kafka, and all these positional coaches on offense, defense, and of course Thomas McGahee and his special teams. So that's my keys to the game for the New York Giants to be able to pull off a victory against the Houston Texans this Sunday at MetLifeStadium. So if you guys like this video, hit the like button below. Sub up if you haven't already to NYGJeffyT85 for more breaking news updates and chatter. And keys to the game for the New York Giants. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short that's going to be dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And let me know in the comment section what are your keys to the game. If you agree with the keys to the game in the video this afternoon. And what are some of your other keys to the game for the New York Giants to pull off a victory against a young, scrappy Houston Texans team? And don't let that record fool you. They're a lot better than people think. So I thank you very much, everybody. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your week and weekend. Sunday football is here. Let's go New York Football Giants. Let's go out there. Let's handle our business against a young, gritty Houston Texans team. Get the W, and then we'll move on to the next week against the Detroit Lions. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend, and let's go New York Football Giants. As always, together blue, everyone.